solving mathematical expressions. If any of you have been around before, I've sort of been doing this for a few too many semesters, so they get repetitive, but for those of you who haven't seen it yet, it's written in JavaScript. It also uses HTML and CSS, but all the actual computer science aspect of it is JavaScript. It runs in a web browser, so as a result, it's client-side in that once you have it running, you don't need to keep pulling up to a server or anything to run it. It'll just run self-contained. So if you have it local, you don't need an internet connection at all. The most recent features that I've implemented have been variable substitution, which allows you to substitute numbers in for letters in your equation once you've manipulated it. And it also has a couple of constants in there. It recognizes that they're constants, for example, pi, but it does not evaluate them.
Yeah. The reason why it is called this touch of math is all this, all the expressions could be manipulated by hand, and you can move the variables, expressions, etc.
Yep, I'll do a demo in a bit, yeah. And then the most recent thing I've implemented is a history that as you manipulate it, it'll show you your previous steps above it, trying to sort of emulate when you're writing on a piece of paper doing a math equation, you sort of work down. That's the idea there. A couple improvements for the near future. Right now the history is static, you can't do anything with it except look at it. So the next step there obviously is to make it so you can revert back, undo, redo, maybe even jump back and have separate history timelines. I don't know, I haven't thought of that yet. Still has some UI bugs, parentheses and the division lines for fractions don't move when you drag the contents that they're associated with, which is really, really bad. Right now, it sort of does its best to guess when you click on an element whether you're referring to the whole. For example, you have a nested, you have an addition in the top of a fraction like A over C. If you click on the B, it might not know if you want to move it within, maybe add it to the A, or if you want to just take the whole numerator and drag it somewhere else. And I can show you in the demo. This doesn't make any sense. Some formatting bugs. And right now it's made mostly for Chrome and Safari, which is what I've been developing. It works pretty well in Firefox, and it does not run in Internet Explorer yet. Well, for educational tools. It does run in mobile Safari last I checked, and it runs pretty well on the web browser on my Android phone, which I haven't fully tested those yet, so it's still working on it. So it does accept touch inputs as well as mouse inputs. And there's also a couple of math errors, which are still there because I'm mainly the front-end guy, so I've got to dip into the actual math that's going on and start fixing those. So this is your web page. You enter in your equation up top here, and then you hit display, and it shows up down here, and you can do things like drag items over. You can see it shows what the previous state of it was. If I wanted to. And you can subtract it. It'll try to evaluate it. It also supports some more. That's sort of the example I was talking about. If you drag the B, you can't tell it, I just want to drag the B, it just grabs the whole numerator. So that's one of the things that we want to fix. But you can still manipulate it and have fun with it.
How do you get your pi?
You just type pi. So you'll notice it doesn't show up on the variable list. But like I said, it doesn't actually evaluate it right now.
Do you have a full Greek variable set or just pi?
Just pi, e's in there right now, I think. Just some sort of demo ones.
Okay.
I think it'll do sigma and a couple of things like that we were just playing around with. Yeah, that's to come.
That's important.
Yes. And some sort of future goals, equation states, so you can load and save them. Specifically, maybe you have a partially worked out problem as an educational set, and they load it up, and it's been partially solved, and then the student has to maybe figure out how to get all the way or things like that. Also want to increase the math operations that are supported. Right now it's just a division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. It can display summations, but it can't evaluate them, some things like that. So to increase that trigonometry, to make it more useful as actually solving instead of just displaying. And then with that, tutorials on maybe how to solve different types of problems, since this is an educational tool. And that can go with the load and save feature as well. That's it. Thank you guys very much. You guys, and especially Morthy. Any questions?
Is there a live website that you can check out? I was actually going to ask the same thing.
GitHub.
GitHub.
You got to pull it. I mean, it's clone it and run the HTML file. I didn't put it up on a demo site. Sorry. Yes.
So you want to be part of Briefcase? Sorry.
Well, I'll talk to him later about that.
So you're like thinking about doing like undo and redo or something. Have you thought about like using something like a command pattern or something?
What do you mean?
Like the generic command pattern is like you have things that are basically commands, and they have both like an execute and like an undo or whatever. And so whenever you call, I don't know, whatever functions you have, would be like add to right side or something. You would also include some kind of something that would be an undo. In that case, it'd be like subtract from right side, add to left side or something like that. And so you maintain like a stack of commands. Every time your program runs one of those, like add to right side or something, that command, you just like toss it on a stack. So then when you want to undo something, you just pull the top command on the stack and run its undo function.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
You can Wikipedia it.
Right. Unfortunately, right now, all it does is it remembers the last complete equation.
Oh, okay. I had no idea how to do it.
The idea is to know what operations are going on, like you said. So I like that. Try and work towards that. Yes.
Have you considered implementing something like Lontech input so that later on, when things like if you decide to implement things like calculus or something like that, so things don't get terribly confusing?
Yep. Yes. We do want to. Also like MathML or something like that. We played with those earlier on just for representing the equation, but we had some issues that didn't work out. But that doesn't mean we can't just use it as a way to enter the equation, right? Yeah, that's the idea eventually.
This is my question.
This is your question now.
So it remembers and compares to the original equation that you produced. So like, let's say I put in a rather lengthy strengths of materials equation, which I can input with just the stuff you have here. And then it compares sigma to 3 different sets of other numbers. If I drag like B from this side all the way over and then drag sigma over to the other side, will it automatically recreate the equation to compare B to everything else that I had originally input?
Sort of solve for B.
Yeah, basically. Will it just automatically solve for B?
Right now it will not.
Okay.
Right now, unless it's one operation away. For example, if it were something over B and you drag the B over, it would do that and then you could drag that one back over.
Okay.
But right now it just does single steps at a time.